It's cooking time in this family and consumer sciences class at Choctaw Middle School.
I selected a recipe, very basic recipe. It's a skillet ramen noodle dish.
That's instructor Richard Boone. And yes, ramen noodles may seem like one of the most effortless things to cook.
Now, as soon as I tell the students we're cooking ramen noodles, they're like, oh no, I know how to cook ramen noodles, Mr. Boone. Why are you gonna show me how to boil some water? Well, I show them this recipe because it's different. We toast the noodles, and then we start adding the seasoning and the water, and then we also add vegetables, frozen peas and carrots.
This style of taking something traditional and finding new and different ways to accomplish it is the way many things are done in this class.
We don't hold back in here. That's why I love it.
And perhaps the best example of that is the teacher himself. Traditionally, there are not a lot of male facs teachers, and fewer come from the military. Boone was enlisted in the Air Force as an evaluator and flight engineer. But while his path here might not have been the most conventional, the things he teaches are.
That's what I did in the military, teaching young airmen, some values, everything. But I felt like if I get into probably about the middle school, you can actually have an impact and start teaching those values they need to know for the future.
And so, Boone became a member of Troops to Teachers, a program which gives veterans like him financial assistance, counseling, and guidance to help bridge the gap between serving his country and serving his students. Boone says those skills he learned from the military translate well into running a classroom.
I think a lot of it is the management of individuals, of students. How do you control a group? How do you get them to respond to you? How do you get up in front of them and speak?
And once that connection with the students is made, then he can get to teaching them the important stuff.
Ethics, values, decision-making, and we get into basic sewing needs, cooking, finance. That's what crushes most people. We talk about what a difference between a credit card and a debit card, how to fill out a check. And lastly, we get into like careers and being prepared for a job interviews, how to go out and buy a used car.
While it may seem like the ordinary basics of life, Boone says he's seen an impact on these kids' lives, even when just teaching them how to sew on a button.
And we're going through it and we're sewing it on, and these kids are like, hey, Mr. Boone, is this how I do it correct and everything? And at the end of the day, they finally get on one button and they are just ecstatic. And then they have to sew on like 5 buttons, and they just start whipping them out, and they're going, and I say, okay, here you go, you can take this little piece of cloth and show your parents, or you can just cut off the buttons and give them back to me. Almost every student, they take it home. They're so proud they want to show their parents. They're very excited. Just the basics of sewing.
Richard Boone has only been at this for a couple of years, but he wants to stick with it to broaden his unique impact on students for many years to come.
A lot of them, they may not see the real impact of the knowledge I'm trying to make sure they have when they leave. And hopefully, if I teach for quite a while, they'll come back and they can give me some good feedback that, hey, no kidding, I did need this. And they start getting on the right track and they come back and thank you. I love it.